Hello, good morning mga katribu. For the meantime, we will interrupt our regular programming for the special news broadcast of Tribune News on Q. I'm Chito, Lozada.
And I'm Magadia. Today we focus on the growing tensions in the Middle East following the escalation of hostilities that began late February. The developments have raised concerns globally, including among Filipinos living and working in the region.
So to help us understand the situation and its implications, we are joined today by none other than the Israeli ambassador to the Philippines, Her Excellency Dana Kursh. Ambassador, good morning and thank you for gracing our show.
Good morning, Ambassador.
Good morning, Chito. Good morning, Carl. It's an honor to be with you, and thank you for providing us a platform to exchange of what's going on back home.
Can you bring us up to speed on what's happening in Tel Aviv and the situation in the broader Middle East following the escalation of tensions?
Gladly. What happened is February, which means like 5 or 6 days ago. Early in the morning, Israel, in a joint operation together with the United States of America, had no other option than attacking Iran. Because Iran, there was ongoing, and under the radar, keep on building their nuclear capabilities and their missile capabilities, and continue funding and arming proxies at Hamas terrorist organization and others. So, and the sense of urgency was even more acute because we realized that they are basically bring their manufacturing of the nuclear bombs and the ballistic missiles farther down in the other ground, in bunkers. So, and if they will be successful in bringing everything down, at the end of the day, we will not be able to attack it. So that was the reason of the sense of make it very clear that the aim of the U.S. administration and Israel is basically to stop the Iranian regime from continue on expanding their nuclear capabilities and ballistic missiles. And of course, the fact that they are basically the mastermind of so many of the terrorist organizations and their funders and the arm provider. And on top of that, as you probably all know, especially since the end of December, but many years, for the past 47 years, the Iranian people are really suffering. And and since the end of December, they had really even been murdered by the Iranian regime led by Ayatollah Khamenei. So what we have done in Saturday morning is we had started a joint operation while Israel flying with our planes 2,000 kilometers and basically targeted operations to identify the leadership of this Iranian fanatic regime together with the Americans. And in the first 40 minutes of this operation, it's called in Israel Roaring Lion, and by the American Epic Fury. After 40 minutes, around 40 of the top leadership of the Iranian regime, led by Khamenei, were killed. But unfortunately, the Khamenei had a lot of disciples. So still, many of his Revolutionary Guard and others are still following, and his son, he may be the next leader. And we have to eradicate all this leadership in order to have a clean slate. This leadership had been calling death to America and death to Israel at the same sentence. And they're not just called it, they are acting upon it. So in the last 5 or 6 days, we're not in the morning of the 6th day, We had tried to very, very carefully targeting their launching missiles places, the production of ballistic missiles, and their nuclear plants, while they have been launching rockets on Israel indiscriminately at the population, and unfortunately causing the life of your, or if I may say, our Kababayan Marianne. Marianne is the first casualty of this operation. She had found her death on the first day of this operation. She was selflessly taking care of her elderly woman that she took good care of, and she refused to go to the shelter without her. So you know that the elderly people take longer time to calm down. So unfortunately, she was hit. That is the beautiful face of Marianne. And I've been reading Israeli newspaper, sharing her story. How was she an angel? Her husband is also an OFW. And you see now the elderly lady that she was taking care of. And the family of the elderly lady adored her. And I think that the name of the lady that she was taking care of was Rachel. And really they loved her, and they said they were supposed to move to another location where the shelter is closer to their unit, but they did not have time. And the family said, Marianne, I think they called her Michelle as a nickname, please go down by yourself. You're the one that our elderly that you're taking care of will be okay if she's in bed. But she refused. She had to stay next to her. So unfortunately, she lost her life.
Ambassador,
Yes.
yeah, I have a question. Does Israel consider the current conflict a continuation of the 7 October war against Hamas?
In many ways, of course it is, because one of the goals, as I mentioned, we have three goals. In order to move away this fanatic Iranian regime that is doing three things. They are producing nuclear capabilities. They are having ballistic missiles that with a range of more than 2,500, which means they can get to Europe. And the third thing, which is related directly to October 7, 2023, they have been funding and arming terrorist organization, namely Hamas, the Palestinian terrorist organization, Hezbollah, the Shiite Lebanese organization, and the Houthis in Yemen. And they have been funding them. Instead of funding their own people, they have been funding them. So the huge success, unfortunately, of Hamas, that on October 7th, in one day, massacred 1,200 of our Israeli citizens down south, and a day after, Hezbollah joined in the northern front, the Shiite terrorist organization in Lebanon, and joined the war against us, and basically launched missiles from the north, causing much more harm. Those two organizations had been funded and armed by the Iranian regime. So of course there is direct connection, and it's a strategic threat, not only to Israel, to the entire Middle East. If you know, the last couple of days, Iran not launched missiles only against us. They launched missiles against 8 Arab of the neighbors: Kuwait, Saudi, Dubai, eating malls, eating airports, and even Cyprus. So as we said for years, Iran ballistic missiles can reach Europe. So it is a global threat, and that's why we had united forces together with the American to be able together to might counter this Iranian regime, and basically providing hope for the Iranian people and providing hope for the region for peace and stability at last after 47 years of tyranny.
Ambassador, my next question, my last question before Karen, is did Israel request the U.S. for assistance to have an operation against Iran, or can you provide us the background of the collaboration with the the
United
U.S.?
States.
Israel and the United States, very much like Israel and the United States and the Philippines, has a very, very strong ally. And we consider the US as our prominent ally that had been always supportive of us. And on top of that, there is a very, very close and unique partnership and friendship between President Trump and our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Even since November, from one of the last visit of Prime Minister Netanyahu visit to Washington, they had been discussing that. The Iranian threat has been identified by the United States for many years. Not everybody knows that if you see demonstration in Iran, you will see Israeli and American flags being burned, and the slogans is death to America, death to Israel. So I don't know if you've been able to hear the U.S. Secretary of War. He said it very, very clear that the aim was to stop this Iranian regime from continue on wanting to eliminate Israel, and basically, instead of death to America and death to Israel, it's death to this regime. So we had been sharing intelligence for many, many years. It's not something new. As you all remember, the Iranian nuclear capabilities has been well known for many, many years. And in 2015, the international community reached, under the leadership of back then President Obama, reached some understanding with the Iranian. But the Iranian did not follow their part of the bargain. They didn't share all the different plans of the production of nuclear capabilities. The IAEA was monitoring them, and they refused inspectors for entering. And basically, this when President Trump assumed office, he basically said to abolish this understanding because the Iranians are not adhering to these activities. So that is what happened back then. And that is what is happening up till now. So as you were asking about the American and Israeli partnership, it was identifying a threat for the globe, for the entire globe. Iran had been killing Americans in '82 in Beirut, in '92, our embassy in Buenos Aires, they bombed it, and in '94, and so on and so forth. This Iranian regime had been inflicting terror and murdering people for many, many years. So we had been coordinating, understanding that the threat is very imminent. The last couple of months, there was an understanding. I don't know if you probably are remembering that in June last year, we had a 12 days operation. It was an Israeli operation, but one of those days, the American had done operation Midnight Hammer, that B-2 bombed some of the nuclear capabilities, and it was able to bomb very, very effectively. But what happened, instead of the Iranian coming back to the negotiation table after this operation, they decided, okay, let's put our missiles, our ballistic missiles, and our nuclear capabilities farther down in the underground, in bunkers, that no B-2 can anymore hit them. So once we understand that it became a very imminent threat, and that was the catalyst for this joint but separate. There are two names. It's Epic Fury, the American operation name, and Roaring Lion, our operation name. And we are working in very, very tight partnership and cooperation. And as you know, the Israeli army, although we are very tiny, we're just 10 millions, we have a very cutting-edge technological innovation in our army, and we are in amazing partnership with the Americans. And when you have those two allies inflicting concrete and very, very precise launching of bombs and missiles at target of Iranian regime, not the population of the people of Iran, because we don't have a fight with them. We, God willing, as soon as possible, will achieve those goals and stop from this Iranian regime having nukes, having ballistic missiles, and having continuing funding terrorism around the globe.
Rightly said,
So,
Ambassador.
Ambassador, just one question. Since you've mentioned that there are Iran is escalating the conflict, there are reports coming in that the Gulf allies are running low on interceptor missiles versus Iran. Can you confirm this?
I cannot confirm. I didn't hear it, and from the intelligence report that I saw, I didn't see any notice for that. But I have to mention that many Gulf states are allies of us, and there is partnership. As you all know, 5 years ago we had signed the Abrahamic Accord. Again, President Trump had been a mediator in this respect, and we have peace with Bahrain, peace with UAE, and peace with Morocco. Those are three important allies that we are also in close coordination. And the fact that Iran had chose to bomb Dubai and Saudi and Kuwait and Oman, even Oman, that was they had been the mediator that tried to help and solve to get to a new deal between Iran and the United States. They had stopped that. So we will continue. I'm sure that the United States, together with Israel, have much concerns to the Gulf nation, and will partner together to provide as soon as possible elimination of those Iranian leaders that are causing so much harm and pain and loss of human being and loss of infrastructures to the entire Middle East.
So
Regarding the
ayun.
school that
Yeah.
has been struck.
So we just want to follow up also. What are the status? Can you confirm also if the missiles that unfortunately hit the school, was it
School
Israel's
building.
or the US that killed the children?
Have you,
We tried, all of us tried to look into that story. And I don't have concrete information, but I have some hesitation if it is really at all true, because the Iranian regime is very, very good, not also in cyber security attacks and also in fake news. So I think that we need to wait. And of course, if there is some responsibility, I will not speak on behalf of the Americans, but our intention, the Israeli Defense Force, is very ethical, and it's trying to first, of course, oversee international law. And also, as you saw in all of the attacks up till now, the point is to target that just the Iranian regime that is inflicting so much harm in the entire globe, not harming the Iranian people. Before 79, before this regime it came into power, Israel and the Iranian people were in partnership. I live in a farmer community up north, and one of my neighbors is a founding father of the Amay Moshav, and he was living in Iran, building an agriculture, building their roads. So we do believe that we can go back to living in peace with the Iranian people. We are all being hijacked by this Iranian regime, and this Iranian regime is basically abusing the Islam religion. Basically, they are claiming that the Shia is the
Ambassador, you're coming choppy right
they
now.
have they are abusing it, and instead of being a worshiper of sorry
Got cut off. Can you repeat what you said?
A portion of
yeah.
your what you said was
About
cut off,
yeah, it was cut
and
off.
some parts are choppy right now.
Okay. So the question, if you would like me to repeat that, or you'll omit it from the whatever you prefer.
To continue, Ambassador Kursh, what you are
Uh,
saying.
I will, yes, Carl, if you want to direct for me another direct question in this respect, I will answer it.
Yeah, we Ambassador, we're
Yes.
hoping to get from you an estimate of the timeline for this campaign against Iran. Would Is there any timeline to speak of?
In Judaism, there is a saying that prophecy was given to fools. So I don't want to be a fool, and I refuse to give you a timeline, but I can tell you for sure that the Israeli leadership, together with the American leadership, does not want to create a situation of prolonged war. Our aim is really to eliminate this threat, the Iranian regime threat, and to eliminate their capabilities of having nukes, of having ballistic missiles that can hurt Europe and can hurt additional friends and allies, and eliminating the threat of them funding those Palestinian terrorist organizations such as Hamas and Jihadi Islam and other proxies that they are being doing their work of terrorism, whether it's the Hezbollah in Lebanon or whether it's the Houthi in Yemen. So, God willing, I think that every Israeli and so many in the entire Middle East are keep on praying and hoping that this operation will be as efficient as it can, will achieve its goals as soon as possible, and will be able to move for this time. It's a game changer. If once this regime is out of the picture, the Middle East can be a peaceful and stable place at last. And we hope and pray that this will come very, very soon.
Yeah, considering that I guess Israel would be a primary target every time that
Yes.
the war escalates. How's the situation in Tel
That's
Aviv?
the situation both in our capital in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv, which is there have been, because it's the densely populated area, they are trying to target both Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. And in between those cities, it's a 1 hour drive between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. There is a city called Bet Shemesh. So unfortunately, they were able to launch a missile that all of our protecting mechanism of the Iron Dome and the arrow and other layers of protection that we have. Unfortunately, one missile had been able to go in and hit the roof of one of our shelters in this city, in Bet Shemesh, and caused the death of 9 people. Out of them, 4 children, out of them 3 children from the same family, 13, 14, and 16. So together we have a total of 10 people who lost their life from this concrete campaign operation that started on the 28th of February. One of them is your or our beloved Kababayan Marianne De Vera from Pangasinan, and 9 Israelis. And I think that it is a manifestation of the bond even between our nations, that we have such a strong and resilient people. This lady, Marianne, was very brave. She could have said, I want to repatriate, I want to leave my elderly, I want to be in the shelter all the time, but she stayed. And the entire Israeli people now, I'm saying it's Israelis and foreigners and foreign workers and migrant workers from other countries. We are all Israelis now in Israel. Every one of them are protected by the Home Front Command. They are all providing with the Israeli app that will help them know if where's a siren is on and what should they do. There is English translation to everything. Your Filipino embassy and your ambassador Eileen is doing a wonderful job also disseminating information for more than 30,000 OFWs. We are united in the wanting to protect our people. We are all mourning the loss both of Marianne and the other 9 casualties, and we hope and pray that there will be no more casualties, and this operation will be successful and will bring us to a different reality, a wonderful and peaceful reality that we are all striving for.
With
Sincere
that,
prayer.
Ambassador, does Israel have any plan to ensure that the next leader of Iran is not a sponsor of terror?
That's a very good question, because unfortunately Khamenei was very wise. He was like 86 or 87. He's been ruling for many, many years. And basically he's the mastermind for so many terrorist operations around the globe that had been murdering many people, including his own. So he had basically prepared many potential leaders. One of them is his own son, and others. What we have done yesterday in a very, very carefully organized operation attacked the committee of the sages. 80 sages sat there to decide who can be the next leader. And we hit 40 of them. And we killed 40 of them. Again, a united, coordinated effort of the Israeli army and the American army. So we are trying to make sure that none of the Iranian regime with the same fanatical strategy and psyche of Khamenei will not be able to be the ruling of the Iran people. But I have to say to you, the aim is we are not appointing leaders in other countries. We hope and pray that the Iranian people will rise and will be able to pick the right leader for its own benefits. And after so many years of being deprived food and gas, and all the money was channeled to the terrorist proxies and to other avenues, they will be able to enjoy peace and prosperity in their own home, and they will be able to enjoy health and education. What happens now is because of the sanctions that we have to inflict on Iran. The international community inflicted sanctions because they were not sharing about their nuclear capabilities. So they had been only selling their oil, and you know that they have a lot of oil. They've been selling that to Russia and to China. What did that cause? Is that China was calling the shots how much a barrel of oil will cost. So it was again hampering their own Iranian people, because they could have get much more money if it was in the open market, but it was not. So I do hope, I don't know who will be the next leader. Again, it's an Iranian decision. It's not our decision. We know that there are a lot of Iranian in the diaspora, in other countries, that are also being mentioned as names to lead the nation. But the Iranian people has to pick and choose. And we hope and pray that they will choose rightly, and that we will have a leadership that, God willing, will even have peace with Israel as soon as possible.
Would the Americans or the Israelis have an influence on the choice of the new Iranian leader, Ambassador?
As I mentioned, the only influence we have is putting out of the pictures the wrongdoings, the one who are basically in the clones of Khamenei. We don't want any duplicate of Khamenei. And we know that whenever a leader, the next leader can be even much worse. We want to prevent that. But at the end of the day, both the Israel and the United States are democratic nations following international laws, and know very well that it has to come from within. And we hope that the Iranian people will choose rightly to change their destiny, because they have been deprived so much from so many years by this Iranian regime. And as you know, they have those revolutionary guards of the Iranian revolution, those Shiite fanatic that are basically, they had controlled them. Every demonstration they have done, they had killed their own people in order to prevent the demonstration. I think that you remember there were even female demonstrations to stop going with the hijab and other things, and they had basically had been so brutal, this Iranian regime. So our aim is to eliminate this regime. Whatever will be instead of it has to be a decision of the Iranian people.
So just a quick follow up. Can you also confirm the news report that the son of Khamenei survived the Israel attack during the supposed selection process of the next successor?
As far as I understood, yes, he survived. There is one, as I mentioned before, one of the leaders that Khamenei was thinking of is his son, and he had survived. And I trust in the Israeli Defense Force. I was a captain in the Israeli Defense Force. I'm very proud of my IDF, of the Israeli Defense Force, and I know they have amazing capabilities. And there is some partnership between the Philippines and Israel, and there's a strong partnership between the United States of America and Israel. And I do hope that that all the one who are basically Khamenei clones, masterminds of terror and destructions and inflicting of so much harm and pain and nuclear capabilities will be out of the picture.
So, Ambassador, do you have an estimate when the body of Marianne can be repatriated? You said that
We are
one.
they both us my headquarters, our DFA, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs back home, and of course in a partnership with your embassy in Tel Aviv, and of course with your wonderful entities, both of DMW and of OA, that I have to salute them. The way that the Philippines take care of their OFWs in time of routine and in time of crisis is admirable. And Secretary Ansgar Dak and Administrator P.Y. Kaunan are amazing leaders with the right heart and mind to take care of the OFWs and their families, and they are doing wonders, especially also now with OFWs that want to repatriate. Not many of them want to repatriate from Israel, but from the other Gulf nations they do, and they are doing their wonders, and we will do together everything in our power that the remains of the beloved Marianne will be brought back together with her husband and will be reunited with the family here in Pangasinan. I had the honor of speaking with her aunt yesterday while the governor of Pangasinan visited them. And I also spoken with the governor, and I, on behalf of the state of Israel and on behalf of the people of Israel, conveyed there's no word to omit the pain. So just my heart is with them. And once I meet them in person, I will give them a big hug that is basically a big hug from the entire people and leadership of Israel, because they lost their, you cannot not grasp losing a child. You can understand that your parents, when they are getting older, will go, but your child, it's inconceivable. And the spouse, Ernie, her husband, just got married in 2023. It's such awful that this lady is not anymore with us, this angel. And we are committing to bring her remains, and we also are committed to see her as a victim of terror. In Israel, we have a policy that whenever a terror attack or a war attack on an Israeli civilians and a foreigner that has been inflicted by it in Israel will be entitled for the same compensation and benefits as an Israeli. So we will make sure that Marianne, the Vera family, her husband and her parents will be able, we cannot bring her back, but we can try to do as much as possible to ease their pain and to be with them and provide a bit of comfort to turn 365 days a year from now onwards, every year, that they will miss their daughter or their spouse.
We are grateful for that.
Thank you.
So, Carl,
Yes.
can you ask the
Yes.
next question?
Okay, so
please?
for our next question, a few more questions, Ambassador.
Yes.
Will Israel give a reasonable amount of time for Iran to choose their next leader freely, or will you continue just maintain your posture
conflict.
while choosing their leader?
Again, we are not. The aim of this operation is very, very focused. We need those Iranian fanatics leadership to be out of the picture, that there will not be any nuclear capabilities for Iran, any ballistic missiles with a long range that can easily also soon be bearing nuclear heads to their ballistic missile that can get until 2,500 kilometers. They get until Israel, and they got into even to Cyprus, which is a European nation, as you all know. And our goal is that they will be out of the picture. We hope and pray that the Iranian people will make the right decisions within their own, and will rise up and say, enough is enough. Khamenei had been a very bad leader for us, for the Iranian people. We want something different. We want to have prosperity. We deserve prosperity, good education, good medical treatment, and so on and so forth. And I do hope that they will choose as soon as possible the right leader for that. Our operation is very targeted, same as the American. And if you had heard both our leadership, our prime minister, and our chief of staff, and our IDF and IDF spokesperson and others, and if you have also heard of course President Trump and Secretary of War and their chief of command, we are very, very much focused in what we want to achieve, and we hope that it will also lead to a different Iranian regime and a different future for the Iranian people.
The Israel Defense Minister said the Israel Army is preparing for long days. There seems to be an asymmetry here, since a drone from Iran is worth $20,000 US, while an interceptor is worth about 50 million based on reports. How can Israel sustain the supply, since there seems to be a big symmetry from the price point of a drone and an interceptor?
They're fighting cheap.
And how much is the price of Israeli citizen life that will be killed by this drone? Israel has a commitment to the safety of its people, and that's why we want this regime to be out of the picture, because this regime had been inflicting so much acts of killing and murdering and butchering Israeli people. The Hamas terrorist attack on October 7th was masterminded by Iran money and Iran arms. So we have to keep them out of the picture. I do believe that our might and our technological capabilities will provide will bridge the gap between the cost. And as I mentioned, it's not a matter of cost between a drone and an Iron Dome. It's the cost of human life. And Israel has its right to defend itself. And I think that the entire world has its right to have this Iranian fanatical regime out of the picture.
Some ambassador, there are some reports that this is painting this conflict as a religious war. How would you view this kind of opinions?
I totally reject this opinion. It's not a war between religion. The Iranian regime basically exploited the Islam. The Islam, if you read the Quran, you will see a lot of messages for peace and for moral ethics. And this Iranian regime took the faction of Shiite and basically abused the holiness of this set of belief and use it to channel for hate and to justify murder, to justify death for Israel and death for the United States. So you can easily say there is a Judeo-Christian Shiite, which is Islam on the other hand. I totally reject this don't be fooled by this Iranian regime that took over a wonderful monotheistic religion that comes from the same Abraham. The Abraham, the leader, it's the same Abraham that walked in the land of the Holy Land of Israel, and his descendants are also the Islam. And to abuse religion in such a gross
And Ambassador, what can you say about the other critics, the opinions of accusing the US of dragging the world to World War III because of Israel?
not just to Israel, but to the entire Middle East and to Europe and to the globe. As it was manifested in this 5.5 days, Iran basically were launching missiles at their friends, at the Saudi, at the UAE, at Kuwait, at Oman, at Cyprus, French army bases. They have not been launching missiles only on Israel. So we have to know very, very clear who's the villain here and who's the one on the right side of history. So all those kind of accusations are basically does not based on the reality, and we all can be sure that if this Iranian regime will be out of the picture, the stability and peace will come to the Middle East, because they will not have nuclear capabilities. They will not have a ballistic missile, long-range ballistic missile that can easily and quickly and efficiently by them be equipped with nuclear warheads, and they will stop funding proxies that are terrorizing so many people and causing the life of so many. Many American soldiers and citizens were killed by this Iranian regime's in terrorist attack, not Israelis. So we don't have a magic spell on the American. If the United States of America, with all its might, identify this threat as a global threat, and the United States of America is a leader in the globe that sees its responsibility to make sure that we have a better world for our children, and especially once this Khamenei is calling debt to America, not just debt to Israel. So it's not because of Israel, it's for the sake of the next generation of people in the entire globe.
Regarding the civilian casualties, has Israel or the Americans have taken measures to reduce the civilian casualties in the theater of war, like in Tehran?
Of course, as I mentioned very clearly, we have great intel. And for that reason, we were able, in the first 40 minutes of this joint dual Operation Roaring Lion of the Israeli and Operation Epic Fury of the American, in 40 minutes, kill Khamenei, and targeting only him and his leadership, only their building. So his wife of Khamenei unfortunately lost her life too, but if she would not have been the wife of this murderer person, it would have been a different ballgame for her. But we are we and the Americans, but I can definitely say on behalf of the Israeli, because I'm representing the state of Israel, we have done everything in our power to prevent any Iranian casualty, civilian casualty. As I mentioned very clearly, our war is not with the Iranian people. We have in Israel many descendants from the Jewish community of Iran that sing even songs in Persian. And we just ended the holiday called Purim. Purim is a biblical story of Queen Esther, a Jewish queen, married to an Iranian or back then Persian king, that basically a villain called Haman wanted to spell in the ear of the Iranian king, you have to kill the Jewish people. And she rose and saved the Jewish people. And Haman was killed. The same way Aman is Khamenei. We have to target him and all of his disciples, and he has 20,000 and more disciples still existing. Our fight is not against the army, the Iranian army, just against those revolutionary guards that are doing everything in their power to continue on promoting the nuclear capabilities, the ballistic missiles, long range, and continue on funding proxies like Hamas terrorist organization, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, and others.
There are also reports of the U.S. arming the Kurds to rise versus Iran. Iran's current leadership, or whatever is left of it. Is that do you see that as a intervention that is not proper?
I don't know what you are referring to directly, so I cannot relate to that. But I know that the Kurds had been suffering a lot also in this operation, and again, the focus is the Iranian regime, and I think that we have to focus on the fact that they will be out of the picture, and I think that then everybody can flourish.
I guess that's all of our questions for today. Thank you for your time, Ambassador Dana Kursh. Do you
Yes.
have any?
If I can say something,
Yeah.
I want to finish our time together, Chito and Carl, with an optimistic note. Our anthem is called Hope, and it's a hope for peace. And it's not a slogan for us. And when I was a child, I was living in coexistent peace with a Arab Muslim that lived 1 kilometer away from me. And I know that we can achieve peace both with our Palestinian friends. And as I mentioned before, we have farmers in my village that had been working and cultivating the land in Iran. I do hope that this operation will be successful and will end as soon as possible. And we can put that aside and we can have peace in the Middle East. And then we can continue this long-standing partnership with the Philippines. And just 3 weeks ago, I had an Israeli air carrier CEO here trying to speak, and we had a meeting with your Secretary of Transport to open direct flights from Manila to Tel Aviv. I want to go back to deal with that. I want that the sky will be open, and I want that there will be peace in the Middle East that will enable us here in the Philippines to better connect our two ecosystems and our two people, and to bring more Israelis to come and enjoy your more than 7,000 mini paradises, islands. And I want more and more Filipinos to come and enjoy Israelis, both from the Holy Land perspective and from the nation startup nation perspective. I am hopeful that the right will win over evil, and this Iranian fanatic regime will be out of the pictures, and we will have better days as soon as possible.
Ambassador.
Thank
Those
you.
are the common hopes of
Of all of us.
all of us, of the
I
all
know.
three nations.
So, ayan.
So,
Again, thank you very
Well,
much, Ambassador Dana Kursh, for sharing your insights on the ongoing developments in the Middle East. For continuing updates, yes,
it's our pleasure,
it is our pleasure.
Ambassador.
And for continuing updates on this developing stories and other national and international headlines, stay tuned here on Tribune News on Q. I'm Carl Magadia, and together I'm with.
I'm Chito Lozada. This has been a special news broadcast of Tribune News on Q. Thank you for watching and stay safe mga katribu.